Hey guys, 1 second, please. All right, and then we'd have to go to share, and let me XX, we'll use this one, and then we'll click off of that. We'll put this on. That looks good. And what else do I have to do? Oh, I turned the music off. All right. Come on, Boomer, get it together. Boom. Oh, I need more caffeine. Oh, I knew there was something I had to grab before I started. All right. We'll make do, and I might have to make a coffee run. Good morning. Well, we got through $5 trillion in assets. The nice thing about $5 trillion in assets, I got these. I'll show you these guys. Keep getting told to get rid of blue light. So I got these to get rid of blue light, and I can't see crap through them. So I guess they do work, but I can't see anything. Anyway, you got rid of $5 trillion in debt. All right. Now, out of that $5 trillion that you got out of the market, what we saw was a couple things to me that are pretty interesting. We saw people, oh, this actually lights up a little bit better if I use a white background. Interesting. What we saw where they were putting money. And we should talk about this a little bit. This is a chart of Mexico, 3X ETF. I'm playing around with it. I think I'm right, but I don't know. I thought it would have moved faster. You know, what always bothers me about this stuff is this. When I watch these, just to like explain why I have a position, but why I'm not going hog wild. And why can't I get over that bar? You know, like why can't I get over that? You know, the retest, rejection, retest again. Am I going to get over it? Am I not? You know, it's kind of interesting. Like why is that such a pickle? Something to think about, right? But let's get into the nitty gritty first. I guess you don't hear that too often, do you? Someone say nitty gritty. But if we look here, right, you have a doji. Okay. I don't view that as the end of the world, guys. I really don't. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to go through a couple things that I went through on Saturday, just so you can kind of see where my head is. And you can do with this what you want. So I could show you the Ichimoku cloud, but you know, everyone's like, oh, we're going to crash. You know, are we? Because it looks to me like we're pretty strong, whether or not you use the cloud or not. That's pretty hard to deny, right? Look at the SPY. I mean, watch the 10-year, right? The 10-year cracked. So it's telling you we're going lower, right? I use this cloud a lot. I don't play with it. I use it exactly where they're at, but I use it a lot to like watch the world go by. This is really interesting that the bond market's actually rallying and the dollar is going higher. Doesn't bode well for international companies, actually. But it is what it is. You know, we'll have to figure that part of the noodle out later, right? But let's go back to this and go to the Qs. This is really what I wanted to show you, and I do use this a lot, and I would suggest that maybe you look at it as well. I just look at the histogram, and you can see here how we've gone from dark green to light green. That usually means that we're just kind of slowing down. Like if you look at it here, as it's done that in the past, it usually means it's slowing down. I don't use this to determine tops. I use the histogram to determine bottoms. but I don't use it to determine tops. I find other things better. But this is just telling you like, hey, we might be slowing our roll a little bit in here. Oh, okay. And it doesn't always mean that you're just not, you don't need to retake this in order for that to go higher, as you can see even back here, right? Where you just started flipping and lifting and it started becoming pretty easy, right? But it will tell you where you're marking bottoms. So I think it's interesting to say, okay, well, we might be slowing down here. But then if you go and just take a look at these on the weekly, let me get rid of that. Well, the SPY just flipped on the weekly, right? And then you go look at the Qs, they're still very strong. I mean, you don't even have any weakness here like this yet. And maybe you get it today. Maybe Micron's the blow off, right? Because you have Micron's earnings this week. Maybe they're the blow off. I don't know. I don't have a clue, but I don't think so. I think a lot of people, I think what we really had was a technically overbought position. And I think that that's what we worked off. I think it's fascinating that you had $5 trillion and that's as weak as the market could get. I thought we were going to have a bloodbath. And if people think that's a bloodbath, that is not a bloodbath. I think you have to mark that little level there. I do. I think you have to mark that. If you're looking for just intraday levels, I think that they're pretty decent levels. And I do. I think that you might want to just mark those off and take a look at them. I don't think that that's the worst idea. You can always mark the previous close if you like. That's not a bad idea too. But I think that they're your really big levels that you would want to probably watch. And what we can do is just pop that in for later. All right. I love things I can use later and go from there. What I should really do is just leave that there so I don't have to come back to it. Like if I could tell you one thing that I could do a lot better, my organizational skills are god awful. They really are. And it's something. I could do a study on it. I mean, I think that they're good for like when I care about stuff, but when I don't care about stuff, my organizational skills are just a disaster. But for like trading and everything, it's set up. But the organization of the data, thank God I got people that help. But you look at these levels. I mean, I don't know if that was the worst thing in the world. I don't think that was the worst thing in the world, man. I really don't. I do think we have to mark that off as well. I think that's an important level because we hit that, right? You see how we hit that at the end of the day and just bonked off of it. So that seems like key bonk level. And then, of course, you have the low of the day. You're going to want to know where that is, right? It was kind of want to know where the high-low close are. Just kind of makes sense if you think about it that way. You going to rally a lot before GDP and PCE this week? I don't think so. I think we're going to have a lot of people sitting on the sidelines, slowly putting money to work. But you got a lot of people betting on Micron. A lot. I had something else I really wanted to go over with you. Let's do it here again. It'll come to me. When I have the time, I actually make notes to go over things. But lately, it's been like kind of a madhouse. Let's take a look here. So I think this is important. And I do want to spend a moment on it. See how this cloud flips? This is just a private cloud I use. And you can see these little turns right here. Oh, if you are on the wait list, I know it's been a while. Invitations will go out this week. We will hit a point with that community, guys, where it will become one in, one out, where it will be closed. I'm just saying that. So if it's of interest, get on the wait list so at least you can make the decision. See those marks? See how this has acted since it flipped, right? There's a lot to this, and I use it a lot just to get a sense of it. Now, for me, if I flip like here, think about this as, you almost have a weight like on your chest, right? Like that's how I always think about it. And then like I always look at the green, maybe because I'm visual, but I always think of like the green as like I'm underwater and then I'm like holding on to a balloon. Maybe I have issues, but that's kind of how I view it. where this is kind of like I have a weight on my chest. But anyway, you see, like I'm having a hard time. And so even if I went here and I could make this brighter for us, hold on. Oh, wait, there's more. So part of this is just 20 EMA. And if I just flip to that and go here, what you'll see is I'm starting to flip that, right? So these are precursors for me that we might flip this. But see how that's like purple now and how we're starting to hold up here above that 20. 20 is really like 20 EMA or even if you're using the SMA, they're like great demarcation lines. I prefer 22 really if I'm using an SMA. There's a lot of reasons for that, but I'm not going to get into it. But you know, a lot of people use that number. Like Richard Dennis used that number. Bob Bollinger used that number. You know, a lot of guys use that number. There's a lot to it. The Cloud doesn't. Ichimoku Cloud doesn't. He uses 26. But he uses it differently too. He doesn't even care about the open or the close. Anyway, let's go to it. Take a look here and see what we got. And do we have any like really big levels that we should be concerned about that are of interest? I think that would be one that I would be concerned about. I think that's another one, right? And then up here, I got a lot of good feedback, and I see your comments. I haven't been able to respond to them lately because I'm actually inundated with research lately. There's so much good research right now. I know I sound like a nerd, but there's so much good research that I'm doing a lot of reading. But I haven't been able to get to the comments. I do see them, and I got a lot. What's this? What's happening up here? What is this? What's the purpose of that? I have no idea. Oh, I know what that's from, but I don't need that now. I don't usually use this on a 4-hour. Every once in a while, I'll take a look at it on a 4-hour and just see what's going on with the world. But I use it more than an hourly. There's other things I'd use for a 4-hour, but it's good to see that you're holding at least. I'm gonna go from there. But I got a lot of good feedback on the call video on selling puts. I sold a bunch of those puts, and then what I did was I actually bought back, or I bought calls with it. The calls went up dramatically. I sold some. I didn't sell them all. I actually made probably only a little bit of money on that trade, but it gave me like a huge position in NVIDIA, had NVIDIA ran, which is really what I was looking for. I was like really levered. So if like NVIDIA had a reversal, for those that watched that Saturday video, this was my whole plan. It didn't really pan out, but you should just understand where my head was. My whole thought process was even here, like, oh, okay, well, what if we go to 134, 135? Like I had a boatload of the 130s. I paid 20 cents for it. I think they were, or 40 cents for it. And they were like $1 here. And I had a double. So I pulled some out. For those who watch the video, you'll know what I'm talking about. My thought process was they're all paid for with the puts that I sold. So I looked at it as, besides the equity, I had just a free trade. And if that got motoring, I could have killed it. So that's really where my head was with it. That is not what happened, but that's where my head was. You know, it might just be time for this to just consolidate a little bit. You know, usually after AVGO, it is time for it to consolidate. AVGO looks god awful. You know, does it look so awful that it's got to bounce? No, it just looks awful. Like, you know, something that like looks so bad, you're like, oh, this has got to bounce, right? Yeah, I'm not feeling that. I'm not thinking that at all. What is this? What's happening here? What are you doing? Okay, you're fine. What's this doing? So what's hurting me this morning? What is hurting me? Give me a second. Too much crap on. 7 o'clock is right here. I would get in the habit of just marking 7 o'clock. I think it's fun. It's like a fun thing we can do together. But if you mark 7 o'clock, you kind of know where retail is. I don't know why I'm having an issue there. This account should be up way more. You know what it could be? I know what it is. It's all the calls I have. They're all marked negative for some reason, which makes 0 sense. Makes no sense whatsoever. All those calls are down. Doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. All right. Micron's this week. Nike's this week. Where could I add value? I think I could add value in like these retail names we've been playing a lot of. A lot of these retail names look really good. Like really good. What do you got for me? Thanks, Kobe. Like really good. Surprisingly, right? I don't know. It's pretty interesting to see. Even ELF, ANF, like they're holding in here. They're actually building. You look at XLY. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, you know, it's so interesting. All I keep hearing about is, oh, the market's going to crash. We're going to crash. XLY is about to break out. IGV is playing catch up to the SOX. You know, Microsoft's at all-time highs. Netflix is at all-time highs or darn near it, but we're going to crash. Like, I don't know. I think you're seeing rotation, which is healthy, but I don't think we're going to crash. Even Tesla, like the fact that you can't break down anymore is pretty interesting. It doesn't even matter. Like even bad news and you're not breaking down, right? And I think that's kind of interesting. So I think it's worth paying attention to. Let's get to it. Let's get to some questions today. Do a bunch of it. A bunch of questions. What's up, David? Good morning. On your weekend update, there was a data sheet on the Greeks of a stock. Can you please share how you acquired this data, if it's possible, of course? Yeah, I mean, anybody should be able to get that, David. Let's go to these questions. So I think there I showed Dash Trader, right? So that's one of the platforms I use. I use 3 platforms. But if you go into any of your platforms, and if this doesn't answer your question, then just email me and I'll get to it, David, since you came in so early last night to get your question answered. Any platform will have them, like any platform. Hold on. Man, this setup's god awful. I've got monitors everywhere. But anyone will have it. Like, it doesn't matter. I think even there, I went through Dash Trader. I didn't go through another system. Or even like on the NASDAQ, you can go there and then you pull them up that way. But any system will have the Greeks that you have. You just have to learn how to set it. If you have TOS, Investors Interactive Broker, Schwab, they'll all have the Greeks. And there's websites you can go to as well. But do it through your site. Do it that way. Because they'll definitely have it, without a doubt. There's no question about it. They'll definitely have it. The data sheet on the Greeks of stock. You acquire this data. So that's how I get it. If you don't know how to get that, just email me and I can show you. But it's not that hard. What's up, Bob? I love Houston. I got family in Houston, Bob. The Woodlands, they live on a lake. It's like nice. They love it. Go on a boat, jet skis, the whole 9 yards. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, I don't, a lot of people really like shop here. To me, I don't know. I don't really like these. Like this doesn't do it for me. When I bonk, right? Support, resistance, but like I can't touch this till I'm over that and like emphatically over that. I don't really have a trend here, do I? Like there's really no trend. There's just, well, I guess you could make this argument, Bob, right? I mean, I guess that's a valid argument, isn't it? You could be like, well, I do think you have a trend. I think it's right here. Okay. Yeah, yeah, maybe. I mean, maybe. You better hold that. I need to get over that, man, for me to really look at that, Bob. I really do. Yeah, quad witching. I still say quad witching. Nike's very interesting to me. Nike's very interesting to me. I hate the company from a management perspective. I think they destroyed a brand, frankly, but they just did. But this might be it. Like, you might be washed out here. You're getting, like, some of these brands get to levels and it's like, they get washed out, and you're pretty much there with some of these moves, right? So I think that might be the case here. I think you might be washed out here. I think that's valid. I think it's going to be real interesting to see these earnings. Like, this was a dumpster fire. And so was this. But, are you holding in here? Like, does it not matter anymore? Yeah, I mean, John, that's kind of where my head is. Are you going to see a reversal? I mean, some of these retail names just exploded, didn't they? Some just exploded on earnings. I mean, I was short this after earnings. I was short at like 145. I'm like, this is a really bad quarter. And apparently it wasn't as bad. Like, earnings were good, but the guidance was bad. I'm like, well, apparently it wasn't as bad as I thought. And then you look at like A&F and some of these blowouts. It's just, pardon me, it's just insane. So when you think about where this thing was, my God, they sell T-shirts. It's acting like a tech stock. Some of these names really got it together. Some not so much. But Nike could move, man. That could move. I don't know anything about the quarter. I don't see a lot of positive notes out of investment banks on the quarter. I just see a lot of people saying, like, it's just so beaten down that this could be their turnaround. I mean, it is two, like, really, really bad quarters. Like, if they don't get it together, people start losing their jobs. So I don't know. We'll see what happens with it. XPO. Yeah, I mean, XPO has been a high flyer. I do like charts that do this. My issue with it is now I've got to get through all this, right, up here. So now I've got to get through all that up there. You still have all this up here. Even if you just go here and you just go, if you just look at 24, you'll say it. It'll be more prominent with 24. But you still have all that you have to get through, right? So here, get rid of all my drawings and do it this way. But if you look from 24 on, I mean, you got all that there that you still have to get through. So I don't know. I don't know that I'm feeling that, honestly. Could it hold? It could, but do I really want to do that? I saw a couple other names that did this, but I don't know. I don't know that I want to take that risk. You did hold the 200. I mean, that is where you'd probably look at it if you're a long-term shareholder and you wanted to see if you could hold it. It's not my kind of trade. MGM. There's just so much weight on some of these names. I don't think it's worth it. I really don't. Caesars, you have some people some investment banks or some like activists that are taking a stake in it. I just don't think it's worth it, man. I really don't. I don't know what the benefit is to buying them. I'm not being like, I really don't know why I would buy these. Like, what would be my benefit? I just don't like them. What's up, Luke? Thanks, man. Yeah, I'm going to start doing that, working in more advanced concepts. Amazon, A&F, I'm not really digging. DKS, NVIDIA. So let's just go DKS. I think you have to look at a lot of these retailers and really rethink them. For me, what I did was I ran a scan on volume. That's there, but some of these other names, like the volume was through the roof. I mean, I was really shocked about how much volume, like some of these names were just pulling, like 10 million shares. Like it's 5 times what DKS is. I don't know why TJ Maxx is so exciting. I mean, I don't have a clue. But you're seeing a lot of this. It wasn't like one name. It really wasn't just like one name. So I was like, what? And like, what the heck's going on? And then you look at like charts like that, you're going, I'm battling NVIDIA every day. And for the past 6 days, this thing's done nothing but go green. Like, what am I doing? You know, you start thinking about it that way. I mean, I do. But when I would not sleep on these ASOs. What's that one doing? You know, like this kind of stuff, like you're looking at this going, well, what the heck is going on? Right? Like, look at the volume, you know, and that's all on Friday. And you're just like, well, why? Like, why do they have to get in so fast? You know, I don't know. I mean, that's how I look at it. Like, why do you have to be in so fast? God, I hate lukewarm coffee. It's fine if you start it that way, but I mean, I'd want to know when it gets over that for sure. But when you look at those names, like you start thinking about it. I don't know. I don't know if is Dix the one? How many times you're going to get up here and reject? You know, maybe if you can close over this, maybe. You seem to be battling it. And I didn't have the type of volume you had on earnings. I think that's what's got me to TJ Maxx so interested in it. Like here was earnings, right? And it turned out red. And then this out of nowhere, like here, like, let me show you what I mean. Like, it's just a Friday. Like, it's just Friday. And then you go back and you're like, okay, so I've got the highest buying volume I've had in 52 weeks. I think it's in 52 weeks. Now, here you go. I've got the second highest buying volume I've had in 52 weeks on a Friday because it was, you know, quad witching. You know, why? Well, the repositioning. That's a good thing about Friday. They can't hide. But I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know if Dix is the one. It could be. It's a lot of volume, but I've got other volume that's greater on earnings. What time is it? 8:50. What else you have there? SA pace, kind of interesting. I don't think there's much to do with NVIDIA. I really don't. I have a position on, and I added to it on Friday as well. But, you know, I think I could see 117, 118. I think you're going to see some kind of rotation today, frankly. But, you know, we'll see. We'll see. I think Micron's really the one that they're going to play. But, again, you know, time will tell. I have no interest in really doing anything there with my position, like zero. Happy Monday. Oh, that's nice. I mean, it needs something. I don't know what happened to make it drop the way that it did, but my goodness. Kind of looks like a flea on a net, doesn't it? Like it's not really that big of a deal. Like something else happened to get this thing down. You know, it's a one-hit wonder, right? I mean, we all knew that from back here, but it's just a one-hit wonder. So I don't know, man. I wouldn't touch it. I am sorry. I am dragging here. I'm going to need more caffeine for sure. I can see no reason why I would get involved with this. And if that's all you're going to get out of it, like that's it, that's all we're going to get, that little move right into resistance. I don't know. What's up, Lise? What's up, John? What's going on, Jacob? LHX. I'd want to see more volume. I don't know it. I don't know what it does, but I'd want to see more volume. And you're coming right into all this. So that wouldn't be something. That wouldn't be for me. It's not something I would look. AZO, this would be interesting. Yeah. Yeah, this whole space is pretty interesting to me. It's all starting to move again. I mean, this is actually perfect, isn't it? Like you did the whole gap fill thing. You came down, you flipped, right? 12, 25, 55. You're flipping. You know, I mean, you can see your next level that you want to make sure you clear first. Like if we got rid of all this and just went to a bear chart, come on, work with me. There we are. You can see what happened, right? So you're kind of in that trading range, aren't you? Where this was support and then this is resistance. And now you're rejecting that resistance right in here again, right? Support, resistance, 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 bonk, reverses. Now you got this shooting star on Friday. I think what would bother me is that Friday we saw, and Friday you had a lot of money moving around. You had a lot of money moving around. So I'd be kind of concerned, like why did that one sell down? Why are they getting out of that one? Like they sold all of them, right? Like ORLY, like that's in the space. AAP, that's in the space. So if they're selling, they're seeming to be getting out of that space. I don't know why. I don't know. I like that chart better, but it would have to flip that for me. TTD. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely much better looking. And there it is. It's right there. Right? And it looks like you're over. Yeah, you're over. Did you have a lot of volume? Nobody wants to own it, dude. I mean, if nobody wants to own it, I wouldn't go near it. If you don't have a lot of volume on your chart of the stocks that you're looking at on Friday, man, I would just avoid them. What's up, Steve? What's up, Mayor? Yeah, I just think you're going to have a bad day today. I saw this on Friday. I actually had a position in it. I wound up blowing it out. Took a loss. I had a starter on it. I just didn't like the way it closed, and it was like the worst of the ads I had. And so we're going to gap down today. It is what it is. I mean, I don't know. $15. Is that enough for me to get involved? I don't know. I don't know that it is. I don't know that it is. I don't know that it's enough. Maybe 168, maybe. If I got down to here, like maybe that level, I'll probably mark that off. Micron. I like Micron a lot. I mean, there's not much for me to say there. I like it a lot. I do think that some of these other names are, they're going to have some issues off the open. I mean, that's getting pretty clear. Seeing it with NVIDIA already, aren't we? What are we down 3? So not doing much there with it. But I do like it. But we'll see. There's not much for me to do here, or much for me to say. I mean, earnings are either going to be good or they're going to be bad. I don't know what you do, in the meantime. I mean, you could always trade it and take it. I don't know that I'm going to do that. I think I'm just going to hold it. I have a bunch of calls. I bought a bunch of calls. Well, you know this, Mary. I bought the 140s, the 145s, the 150s all on Friday. And I've stock, but I don't know that I'm going to do anything with it. I really don't. I think I might just, wait and see. What do we have till Wednesday? Do I really want to get out, try to get back in? Kind of sounds exhausting, right? I might close like the 40s since they're going to have like a delta 1 and then like maybe roll them out, maybe roll out further. I don't know. I don't even see me doing that yet. CVNA. Yeah, I saw that chart. I have no position in it, but there's something going on here. I mean, you do have above average volume. Is it 9 o'clock already? Oh, no, not yet. Hold on. What have I got here? Oh, you're done. All right. Thanks. I think you already said that, didn't you? What I would look at here, what I think is interesting here is the pullback, and now you're setting up to push. It really looks that way. And if you mark that off right there, you're over. Like you got over on Friday. So you had buyers on Friday. You see the volume? Like it's not huge, but that's what you're looking for. Really, you're really looking for those kinds of buyers, and you had it. So it's definitely, it would be on my radar for sure. Looking at that. Hold on. Let me get to that again. Hold on. There it is. It's definitely would be on my radar for sure. Get to this and open that up while we're talking. Taiwan Semi, I would let settle down. I'd let it settle down. I'd let all the names settle down till where they stop. It can always get worse than you think it can. Always. And you're going to have retail panic a lot, calling for the end of the world. So let them panic, let them sell. That's kind of how I look at it. It's interesting. I always watch what people ask. Where not one person yet's asked about Apple. No one's asked about Microsoft. No one's asked about Netflix. Kind of neat, kind of interesting. PANW. Yeah, I do think there's something there worth paying attention to. I do. How this gets, where this goes, I don't know. Are we going to come up here again and we're going to reject? That I don't know. But it's definitely an issue. I do like it, Luke. What's up, Michael? What's up, Bill? A lot of people keep asking about this name. I didn't have any volume on Friday. I saw the hammer, but I just didn't have any volume. It actually hit one of my scans, but until I have volume, no interest. What's up, Ian? PayPal. Yeah, I mean, this is what you're looking for. Like, do you have buyers? Do I really want to buy stuff below the 55? Probably not. What's up, Journal? What's up, Mark? What's up, Ian? Yeah, I do a lot with candles because I find them useful. I mean, it's interesting. Candles have been around longer. Actually, I think candlesticks have been around longer than our exchange. When did Wall Street open? I think they might be a lot. I mean, they started in like the 1600s. Candlestick patterns. I think it was before Wall Street even was around. Chipotle. Yeah. Not really much to say. I mean, I still have it. I haven't done anything with it. Looks like people went to dump on Thursday and they did. And now you're at Friday and we'll see what happens today. I mean, there's not really much to say. I mean, it's a super thin name. I mean, 1 million shares did that. So, there's nothing for me to do with it. You can't buy. It's very hard to buy this and trade. You just kind of have to stay with it. You can see like the stair step. I mean, it's over and over and over again. So there's very little for me to do with it. It's not a trading name. Yeah, I think a lot of those, are, I think they're done. When this happened here, like I said, that you probably put a top in. Doesn't mean you're going to collapse, but I don't know that you're going anywhere. Uranium, that's kind of interesting. There might be something there eventually, but I think you're a little worn out in those names, right? I do. I think you're a little. I think you're a little worn out there. So I don't know. I don't think there's that much for me to do there. Give me 1 second here, guys. Oh, slept wrong. Slept wrong and then went to the gym. Give me a second, and then I can stay for another 5 minutes. Give me 1 second. Yeah, I think they're going to take us down off the open. Oh. I do. I think they're going to take you down off the open. They're going to take you to levels that you're not going to believe, I think, on some of these names. That's what it's kind of starting to feel like, isn't it? Right. See, they're taking out retail early. Not buying that. Not falling for the banana in the tailpipe there. But I do think they're going to whack NVIDIA hard. Okay. Let's get to it. All right. I said I'd stay for another 5 minutes. Let's get to it. Thanks, guys. I think that you're sideways there. I know Steven's going to get pissed at me because he's like the uranium king, but I think you're going to go sideways there. You know, I can't really give financial advice. It's not my place to give financial advice. It's just not. I should be really clear about that. I think you have to do whatever you feel comfortable with. Like, whenever I buy a position, I already have the whole thing thought out, right? So we bought this thing back here. And when I bought it, I said exactly when I would sell it and why. And it was a very strong fundamental reason why I would sell it. And I'm not even close to that happening. So I think it depends on why you own it. Now, if let's say that you bought something for a swing trade and you owned it at 108. And you just watched it go from 108 all the way to 141 and you didn't pull anything out, you have issues. Like you have like a trading optimization issue, right? That you have to work on, right? That's the problem, because this is not like if it's a quote swing trade. I hate when we quantify, is this a day trade? Is this a swing trade? The goal is to make money. But I think that if you look at that, you have to go on the premise going, what are you going to do, right? Like what is your game plan, Hunter? Like the game plan should already be thought out. Like if you don't have a game plan, the question becomes, well, what are you going to do at 123? What are you going to do at 117? What are you going to do at 112? Like if you don't have that thought out, you already lost, because when it happens, you're going to be filled with anxiety because you don't have a plan. See, if you're proactive and you have the whole thing mapped out, then when it happens, you're just like, all right, well, I said I was going to do this. And then you have to honor the promise you made to yourself, or you'll lose self-confidence when trading, right? It's a whole psyche thing. But I would argue that you should have been scaling out. Like, let's say you owned 1,000 shares, right? So then you're scaling out into like pops so that you're like, oh, if it drops, I can add to it. That's kind of where my head is. Right. So like I have half positions on swings now in NVIDIA. So if it gets cracked, I can add to it. I mean, my sense would be you really need to watch the next bar, but you really need to answer these questions. Like, if you close below the 12, are you going to hold it? Right. I can't answer these questions for you. If you close below the 22, are you going to close it? Right. So what I could do is tell you that you need a process. If I'm under the 12, I probably don't really want to add to it until I'm above it. And it's very rare for me to own a swing trade under the 22, right? It's very rare for me to own a swing trade under the 22. So I can tell you that. Maybe that would be helpful. Yeah, I mean, Jensen's selling stock. Good for him, man. He's worth $50 billion. Go for it. Go buy a yacht. Like, go for it. It's so fascinating to me that people care about that he's selling stock. I don't trade silver. Like the only thing that I trade worse than gold is silver. I have friends that are like huge silver bugs, and they'll call me all the time. This is it. They're going to run it. And then I will literally stop the run in silver. Like legit stop silver from going higher. I have an innate power to literally stop this precious metal from going any higher. So it's a gift. And I do not trade silver like at all. If you ever hear the words "I'm long silver," just short it. Just more sellers. Thanks, man. Yeah, I try to do that. I try to give like a thesis on the week for like a month out, so people can use that and go back to it. Some people mark parts of it, and I try to keep it unedited on purpose. I did get a lot of comments on the edited video. We'll go over that. I'm gonna try to get another edited video out this week. I have an editor now that'll do them. I think the biggest issues you got. I mean, it's a good question, John. What's the big thing? You got PCE Thursday. PCE's Thursday. You got a dumpster fire of GDP coming up Thursday. Last was a dumpster fire floating down a river. You got Nike, you got Micron, and you got technicals. Let's watch where they put money today. So far, they're coming out of semis. They're coming hard out of semis. But I think they're just playing with people personally. But what do we know? Thanks, buddy. You know, MSTR, like this is kind of interesting, isn't it? Right? Because this is when everyone goes, oh, they're going to break. They're really going to break MSTR this time. Are they? Are they? Right? I mean, are they? Like, are they just going to run it again? I mean, I feel like every time this thing looks like it's going to gap down 100 points, I fall for the banana in the tailpipe, buy like the 1,300 puts, and then it's like 1520 by the end of the day. I would look at contra trading this, and I would look at contra trading Bitcoin, and I would understand that both are highly manipulated now. Like Bitcoin is highly manipulated now, period. Right? You know, everybody cheered to get this thing into an ETF. Cheered, didn't fight, cheered because they thought short term about the money they were going to make. No one realized that they just gave the power of the pricing of Bitcoin to BlackRock. It was the dumbest thing in the world, and everybody cheered over it. Maybe I'll tell you how I really feel. Let's go there. What kind of reading? I read everything, Di. What's going on, Diana? What kind of reading? I read all kinds of books. They don't seem to care, man. Oh, is that fancy? I guess it is. She has a nice house. I mean, it is. I guess it's fancy. Yes. I mean, that looks like I don't see anything holding it. Like, do you see any reason? Like, I mean, what is the reason that can't crack? I've got some kind of, $5 dividend coming up, right? Coming straight down. And I always looked at this, like, this is the big thing for me with these names. And I was telling people in the community on Friday, like, you got to watch the hourly bar on Friday and watch what happened. I mean, does that look good? Does anybody see, like, why would you buy that? I love it. I love the name, but for what reason would you go near that trade? Let me go through some of these and go through these at the end. Let's go there. I got to jump. You got to map it out, brother. You got to map it out. You got to map out your trades, man. Proactive. Oil I can do. I can trade some natural gas, but yeah, I mean, I don't really care if he sells. Who cares? Like, I mean, who cares? Yeah, I just think you have to think about it like that. You have to think about it. INTU looks really good. Right. It's all corporate now. It is. So if Ethereum was smart, they would, that guy, that kid seems pretty smart. I would be fighting it tooth and nail. I wouldn't want to be corporate. That's the whole thing. Now they can say we have this much in inflows, therefore we have to buy it. Oh, we had outflows. How do you know they have inflows and outflows? Because he tells you, like, he's going to be nice about it, tell you the truth. I mean, it's just absolutely crazy. You went from this decentralized thing to, oh, we're going to trade in an ETF. It's nonsense. All right, that's enough. That's enough for me with the tinfoil hat stuff. Trade to win today, guys. As I tell my son, make good choices.